Hi, I'm Robyn and welcome to Well Conceived Business. We help online business owners within health and wellness to create a business and life that is not only well paid, but well lived. Here you'll find honest and refreshing conversations about what it takes to create a business around your life, what healthy hustle looks like, as well as insights and tips on growing your audience, your signature program, your profit, and your peace. Ready? Let's go. Hi, and welcome back to Well Conceived Business, the podcast. This is episode 5, and I hope you are subscribed and loving the episodes that we have so far, because we have so many more juicy episodes coming up, and we will be here for you every week, sharing strategies and tips for growing your online health and wellness business, as well as juggling all of the balls in life and creating a business that is both well paid and well lived, because that's what we are all about here. Now, today we are talking all about Instagram. While we're talking about Instagram, do make sure that you're following me over at Launch Easy Life, because you'll love everything that I put down when I talk about Instagram on Instagram. I share insanely cool things on that account, like here's some hooks for you and here's some ideas for your Instagram stories that are actually practical and easy to implement over there. So make sure you're following me over at Launch Easy Life for daily behind the scenes insights, all of that kind of stuff. Today we are talking about 7 Instagram growth tips for health businesses. Now, one of the very first things that I invested in my business was a mid-4-figure program just to learn Instagram. And there was a couple of things in there that I found that were like big aha moments when I did that program. It was at that time that I was also committing to myself to become consistent on Instagram, to truly focus on growing on that platform. Now, in that time, I can tell you right now that I have not been super consistent on Instagram. I have not been perfect on Instagram. I have not spent all day with my head plugged into Instagram. And yet we have grown to about 20,000 followers. And in a huge weight lifted off my shoulders, the Mind Body Fertility Reset account is now almost fully outsourced to one of my team members. So huge flex, but before you can do that, and I know so many of you will be like, I want to do that too, I want to outsource it. But the very first thing is for you to figure out what works so that you can outsource that to someone else. So if you are in the early stages of growing your account, rest assured, because I am in the early stages of growing the Launch Easy Life account as well, but with the hindsight or foresight of knowing what works, how to grow an account, and also what realistic expectations look like in growing my account. And the other thing that I know is that growing an account as a service provider who has their products and services at the forefront and is positioning themselves as an authority looks different to someone who is building their account as an influencer, or as, like a meme account like Beige Cardigan or My Therapist Says. It's actually really different. It's a different strategy. So I know that it's not all about the followers. It's actually about the conversions, about the trust, about the way that I show up in all of the different stages of, like launch cycles, etc. So I know exactly what to expect. I know what needs to be done. But if you're in the early stages, I run the Launch Easy Life Instagram account myself, although I don't run the Mind Body Fertility Reset account myself, but I'm right there alongside you in my Instagram every single day. So with that said, here are 7 Instagram growth tips for health businesses. So the first thing that I would say is commit to posting once per day at the same time every day for about 180 days. You're a business, regardless of if you hate social media or whatever. Visibility is a core part of your business. Also, marketing is a core part of your business. If it feels really hard at the moment, that could be because what you're doing isn't working. but commit to 180 days of showing up. It could be something that you batch and do once a week. So sometimes I batch, sometimes I post on the fly, but aim to post once per day and aim for the time to be the same time of day. And what you want that time of day to be is basically in line with when the majority of your audience are online. So I would usually say that's you want to post right before people wake up or when people are watching, like TV and scrolling their phones at 8 o'clock at night. Pick a time, post that time once a day for 180 days. You could also test a couple of different times and then see which one works better. But usually I would say that the best times are when the majority of your audience just wake up or when the majority of your audience just before they go to sleep, like when they're watching TV at night. Number 2 is expect growth to be slow at first and then take off. Growth happens on Instagram exponentially. It's almost like, and this is why I say you've got to put in like 180 days. It's almost like on Instagram, you have to be posting consistently once a day for like 4 months for it then to start taking off. However, there's a caveat to this. If you are consistently posting and not seeing any significant growth, stop. You need to be checking your insights regularly. You need to be tuning into what your audience wants and doesn't want. And in the early days of starting something like an Instagram account, what you're going to want to do is put out different forms of content, different content pillars, try out some different strategies and then see what works the best. And if you go down the Launch Easy Life account, you'll see that that's kind of what we've done. We've put out different things and then seen what things people really eat up and then start to do more of that. And sometimes you need to put things out there in order to find your voice, in order to find what message feels good, what flow feels good for you. So the early days of an account are not about doing the same thing and not getting a result and then not being able to see, because everything was the same, what worked and what didn't work, right? So put out a few different things, see what works and do more of it, but don't expect to get like 30,000 followers in 2 months, because I swear Instagram needs to see some consistency first and it goes exponentially. So if you look at us on the Mind Body Fertility Reset account, nearly every post hits the explore page. And that's only because we've built the street cred of regular posting on that account. Number 3, stop focusing on the hacks. I promise you, it is not about hashtags. It's not about like do all reels and that you have to do comedy reels or anything like that. It's actually not about fancy Canva designs. It's not about any of that. A pinky promise to you, it is about the content and having good and clear content with a message that resonates. If you're a health and wellness practitioner and you're growing your business, you know that Instagram is unrivaled in its ability to grow, connect, and convert your audience all on the one platform. But it's not just about going viral and reaching a bunch of people. It's about grabbing your Cloud9 clients' attention in a way that positions you as an authority and a service provider. Want to know exactly how to do that? I have a free PDF case study with 3 example posts that will give you an insight into 3 different types of posts you can create today to help you do just that. Check out our show notes or visit launcheasylife.com/social to get your hands on this free PDF copy today. Going on to number 4, make sure your posts are simple and clear. Stop trying to be clever, right? Go deep with your clients and showing them that you understand what they're going through, but make sure you have clear text, not handwriting text. Make sure that there's a good contrast to what you're having. Don't have like light blue with white text so that people can't really see what you've written. Make sure your text is legible, like Times New Roman or Arial or whatever, like a font that's easy to read. Make sure that it's large enough, not tiny, and make sure that there's a good contrast. Keep it simple. Honestly, I promise you, keep it simple. Number 5, I found that this works really well for health businesses. Validate and relate. Okay, so validating posts. What is your ideal client struggling with / navigating / going through right now? And stay away. We talked about this in the previous episode. Stay away from generic language that everybody is using. Stop talking about like overwhelmed or like sad. No. Start thinking about the experiences and the behaviors at a deep level that your ideal client or your Cloud9 client has. So, for example, I'll give you a really common example. Someone wants to lose 5 kilograms. Okay, cool. We're not going to talk about like lose the 5 kilograms. Whoop, whoop. We're going to talk about sometimes when you are trying to lose weight, it looks like living off celery all day, but then feeling like every time you step out of the house, everybody thinks you've just eaten 12 Big Macs. Or it looks like waking up in the morning and declaring that today is going to be the day that I am going to eat healthy, then opening and closing the fridge 12 times before settling on a piece of toast with butter. See how when we can call out the exact thoughts, experiences, behaviors that people have, rather than just like, this is what you're feeling, it just goes so much deeper. But sometimes we have what I call like secret thoughts. So these are all the things that people think only happen to them, but actually everybody has it. And nobody ever wants to speak it out loud, but actually it's the true thing that everybody's thinking at the same time. How can you share something that's completely validating to someone? They're like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks this, right? At a deep level, or something that is hugely relatable. So, for example, let's say we're talking about parenthood. It is a mum being like, oh, I've just dropped my kids off at daycare, and then getting the call from the daycare saying, your kid's got a snotty nose, come pick them up. What is hugely relatable that people can be like, oh my God, that's so me, right? That's so me. And so, not at a surface level, go deeper. I promise you can go deeper. And it can be as simple as that, like really simple. Number 6 is, I would say, if you're in the early growth stages, and it takes a little while to figure out what this is, but I would say that up to 50% of the things that you post on social media should be discovery posts or attention posts. So we have within my formula for like audience growth, I have 4 kind of pillars: attention, credibility, connection, and value. And these are the pillars that I say are really important for service providers. Okay, so this doesn't relate to influencers or anything. This is what relates to service providers, and particularly health and wellness service providers. Attention, i.e. posts that will get you discovered; credibility, connection, value, right? And sometimes there can be some overlap in that. So a credibility post can also be a connection post, etc. But when you're first starting an account, up to 50% of what you post could be posts that are designed to go viral. So if you would like to have a little case study of your own, who is your meme buddy? We all have one that we send memes to all the time about different things. Or who is someone that you're constantly sharing articles with? Who is someone, maybe you have an Instagram account and there are other professionals in your feed, and you can go through your Instagram archives of your Instagram stories. What are the things that you have felt compelled to save and share on your own Instagram? Then find out how that can relate more to you, your unique voice, your unique Cloud9 client, and do that more. If you are in the growth stages, that's what that looks like. And it does not have to be reels. It especially doesn't have to be those comedy, like skit reels. If you have a look at accounts like My Therapist Says or Beige Cardigan, they have primarily gone viral and amassed huge amounts of followers by and large with just single images, right? That doesn't also mean that it has to be comedic, because it doesn't. And you are not here to necessarily be like an influencer type meme account, but consider what it is that you've been sharing. Is it other experts that you've been sharing on your Instagram stories? Go through the archives of your Instagram stories. What have I been sharing? Look at what other people are compelled to share. Look at the DMs in your Facebook or whatever it is. What have you been sharing with other people? That's the content that you need to be posting more of if you're in the early stages of your Instagram account. And number 7, my very last tip for growth tips for health businesses is tell more stories that begin with the punchline. It can be a story about you and your transformation. It can be a story about a client that you've had. It can be any kind of story, but start with the punchline. It's one of my best tips for direct response copywriting, aka one of the best skills you can learn as a business owner, and that is direct response copywriting. Start with the punchline, i.e., look at the Scream movies where the babysitter gets stabbed to death right at the start of the movie. Make it interesting right from the start, not, I woke up in the morning and the birds were chirping. It was a lovely day. No, start with, I got the phone call that my house had burned down and everything crashed around me. Start with that. People will be compelled to know more. People want to know what happened more. We're all curious people. Start with the punchline. That is my 7 Instagram growth tips for health businesses. Number 1, post once per day at the same time, either when people wake up or when they're watching TV at night. Commit for 180 days and just see what happens. Number 2, expect that growth will be slow at first and then take off, but don't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Number 3, stop focusing on hashtags, just doing reels or fancy Canva designs. Number 4, keep your posts simple and clear. Clear text, clear font, big enough text. Number 5, the validate and relate formula. How can you validate what people are going through? How can you be relatable? Number 6, if you are in the early stages of growing your account, you want up to 50% of your posts on Instagram to help you get found in the algorithm. So that needs to be the things that you would share as well, or the things that you are sharing. Number 7, tell your stories starting with the punchline. More stories, more starting with the punchline. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We have some incredible episodes coming up, so make sure you are subscribed. We are done with the meat and potatoes of this episode, but I am not letting you go just yet, my friend. Before you jump off, I have 3 quick things that I would love to share with you. Number 1 is thank you so much for listening today. If you'd like to hear more about growing your visibility through Instagram, podcasting, or Pinterest, creating or launching or growing your signature program, automations, or many more online business nuggets of gold, pause now, hit that subscribe button because we are here for you weekly. Number 2 is if you would like to learn more about working with us and joining our signature program, the Well-Conceived Mastermind, which is unlike any mastermind you've seen before, check out our show notes below and you will find all the links to join the waitlist or sign up and join the mastermind now. And number 3, lastly, if you do nothing else, make sure you come and find us on Instagram for daily behind the scenes and hugely savable and value-packed content. You will find us at Launch Easy Life. Well, that's it from me today. Now go out there and create your well-paid business and your well-lived life.